it's Amy and today we are doing my July wrap-up and my August TBR. Now, July was a pretty good reading month for me. I read a total of 8 books and I enjoyed most of them, so let's get into them. The first book that I read in the month of July was Masquerade by Carly Finacia. This book is about 6 teenagers living in the 1750s in Italy, in Venice, and the secrets that sort of exist in this society that they're brought up in and are living in. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really loved all of the characters, the pace was really good, the plot was really good, and I loved their relationships, but the ending felt quite unfinished. I turned the page at the end of the book and got onto the acknowledgements when I had anticipated another chapter. There was no sense of closure, so that's why I only got a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in July was The Blood of Olympus, which is the last book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars just because I think I may have outgrown the writing style just a bit, but I did really enjoy the characters and I realised how much I'd missed them all, and I just fell in love with them all over again. The next book I read in the month of July is not actually a physical book, it was an audio book, and this one was The Red Necklace by Sally Gardner, narrated by Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston. The reason I gave this audiobook 4 out of 5 stars, okay, A, it was a really great story, B, mostly Tom Hiddleston's voice. His accents that he put on and the inflection was just, it was really good and really enjoyable, and yeah, I would really recommend it. I don't really often read audiobooks, but this one was fantastic, so go check it out. The next book that I read in July was The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and I hated it. I don't think I've ever read a book that I found as boring as this book. I did not find anything intriguing. I was really intrigued by the concept, don't get me wrong, but the actual book was just boring. The language was difficult to really get into. Some sentences were quite literally 11 lines long. Sometimes I would lose what was happening in the sentence, and I know that's the style of writing in this time period, and I understand that it is an American classic, but from my Australian point of view, I wasn't really interested in the historical side because it wasn't a big part of the book, and I didn't like any of the characters at all. At all, not one did I find mildly interesting. And I know I'm bashing this book, but I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It wasn't even okay. It was a book. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it, but I did not like it at all. The next book is also not a physical book, and it was The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, which I read on Pulsit, which is a website where you can read free ebooks, which is always great. I think there's like 1 or 2 a week. Sometimes it's an extended excerpt and sometimes it's a full book, and this was the full book, and I read it and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's about a girl called Belly, or Isabel, who every summer goes to this house that her family friends have, and she spends the summer there with the 2 boys from that family and her brother, and pretty much no dads allowed. And it's about a summer where she is just grown up, she's almost 16, and boys are starting to notice her for the first time, including the boys that she's grown up with, that she's had crushes on for a really long time, and it alternates between the present tense and her experiences from several summers before, and I really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. And the next 3 books that I read, and the last 3 books that I read in July, were all from a series, and that was The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I read all 3 books this month in the past 2 weeks, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can see what all the hype was about. I don't know why I waited so long. They were all 5 out of 5 stars for me. The pace was just perfect. I could see it so vividly in my head what was happening, and the settings and the characters. And the characters, I love them all. All of them. There was not one character that I despised except for the characters we were meant to despise, which often doesn't happen for me because I find a lot of characters really annoying for some reason. And I just loved it. I finished Cress last night. I stayed up till 12:30 at night to finish Cress, and I really enjoyed it. So now I'm going to have to pick up Fairest because I don't think I can wait until November when winter comes out. And I just, the characters, I'm probably going to have to do a book talk on these books because, okay, so those were all the books that I read in the month of July. That was 8 books, which is a lot of books for me. It was good because I had my uni holidays, and I was pretty proud of 8 books, so well done. Well done, Amy. Because I am now back at university, I don't want to put too much stress on myself in the first few weeks of uni when I get reoriented and I start, getting into the habit of doing homework again. Even though I did have a really good reading month last month, and in June, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I am going to try and read 4 books. If I don't read 4 books, that I'm okay with that. But these are the books that I'm going to hopefully read. I've made them all YA books because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself by making myself read a classic that might be hard to get into, or an adult book where it might take a little bit more concentration. So I'm just going to try and read YA books this month. Okay, so the first book that I hope to read in the month of August is The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, which is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, which I believe is an Egyptian mythology trilogy. I've had all these books for a really long time. I've never read them, and I want to read all of Rick Riordan's stuff, so I want to finish this because what's the point of having it if I'm not going to read it? The next book is Divergent by Veronica Roth, which is the first book in the Divergent trilogy. I have read Insurgent and Allegiant because I saw the movie first and I was too excited and I skipped reading Divergent, and I want to read it because it's obviously going to be different to the movie, and I'm sure you guys all know what Divergent is about. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but yeah, hoping to read this. The next book that I hope to read in August is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. I'm wanting to read all of Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters books in chronological order that she published them, because I hear that some of them have spoilers for the other books and I just don't want to be spoiled. So I'm going to read this one before moving on to City of Fallen Angels, also by Cassandra Clare, the 4th book in the Mortal Instrument series, and I'm excited because I can't stop thinking about the Shadowhunters. I'm so excited. The TV show looks amazing, and I just want to finish this series, and yep, this is working towards that. I'm really curious to see what you're hoping to read in August and what you read in July. Let me know if you've read any of those books that I haven't read. Tell me what you thought of them, and if you've read the books that I read, we can fangirl or you can argue with my opinions in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. I hope you're having a lovely day and happy reading. Bye!